In a society where the deck is increasingly stacked against men, the best chance at a life worth living is to escape the cubicle war. Pick up corporate land on Amazon.com today. A link is in the description.
Hello everybody, Terrence Pop here, Redonkulous.com. Good Pop here, but I'm talking about a very, very bad subject. About them women who like to cut your throat and stab you in the back and the tricks they play. Over the past 4 years, I have gotten a hell of a lot of emails on this subject, and some of them were so egregious they drove me to drink. More.
Are you high?
If it's Tuesday, I'm wasted.
We've talked about some of the crazy ass shit the ladies have done in the past, but now we're going to talk about some of the OG or cunt moves that some of these ladies pull, and if they do this, there is no excuse. Take some medication, and you might need to go to church. It's top of the heap or bottom of the barrel. It all depends if you take the high or the low road. I really don't care what road you take, but I'm going to take me a shot when I'm done. Be prepared for me to pick a fight. Yeah. All right, before I get started, get a beer, a mixed drink, or a shot, or all three like me. And maybe order a pizza because this is going to make it go over a lot smoother. We're not fucking around. We don't have a lot of time for that. So we're going to get started right where it hurts. In your wallet. You thought I was going to say testicles, didn't you? You see this first page? I call it financial flim flam. These are the 5 different types of monetary mayhem that these chicks pull. And they get away with it. And while they're doing it, they take your fucking soul too.
I'll swallow your soul! I'll swallow your soul! I'll swallow your soul!
Swallow this.
One of the main and most common ways these women do that is they open credit cards in your name and then they intercept your mail so you don't even know they exist. I know you're like, Pop, how do they pull that off? Well, 1, they're at home and you're at work, and you filed a joint tax return, you dumbass. All she really needs to do is know you well enough, have your social security number, and it is on like Donkey Kong. Because let's face it, you stick your penis in that hole, at the end, you're the one getting the Tootsie Roll.
Hold on a second there, Frank. Before you go sticking anything through that hole, you might want to consider that on the other side of this wall, more often than not, there's a dude.
Who the hell called those things glory holes anyway? There's no glory in that. You're not getting any glory. She is. You know what else she gets? Big ticket items. And you probably won't know about those until it's too late. I know this first example, you're like, Pop, that never happens. I used to work in finance, real estate, and mortgages. And yes, it does. And number 1 is a house. This happens a lot to guys who are deployed. They come back and get driven to, not the home they left, but the home they just bought. And they have 3 days to finalize and find a mortgage, or they don't have a home at all. And that $5,000 cash advance that she took from the credit card that you don't even know about, that she used to put that on the house, you're going to lose that too and pay for it.
This is going to end badly. Again.
You don't need that shit. And really, you don't need the Challenger she bought for you either. Oh, I'm sorry. You assume that was for you. It was a lie because she's been driving it for 6 months, picking up Jody and getting banged in every hole.
That's bad. Because it stains.
You're probably going to have to pay to have that car detailed upon your return, because it's going to smell a little like clam chowder. Honey, what is that stain in the back seat?
Oh, I was eating a salad.
In the back seat?
Yeah.
What kind of salad was it?
The tossed salad.
I'm sure it was a tossed salad, if you know what I mean.
Pass to mouth.
And it doesn't stop there. There's some other big ticket items. Horses, boats, motorcycles, other cars, and the list goes on and on. And I'm sure if you looked around in that house that you probably can't afford, you will find the forever room of shoes that she will never wear. And the outfits to match. And I'll tell you what, I'm glad I'm divorced these days.
Sometimes the best gift is the gift of never seeing you again.
Okay, all right.
You'd rather be divorced than stay around like a sucker, pay off the student loan and all her debts, and then she cuts you away. I know there's some women that watch this that are going to go, I would never do that. Yeah, maybe you wouldn't, but 18 of your friends did it, and I heard about most of them in my hate mail. Winning it.
I wanted to deal with the yelling today because I noticed what you were wearing and I wouldn't have to listen all that closely.
Now listen, ladies, that particular portion is not really all your fault. There's a lot of guys out there, they fall victim to the guilt bomb. There is a great defense out there for the guilt bomb, and I'm gonna let you know right now, it's a 2-step process. Grow a spine and take your testicles back. Because if you had even one of those 2 things, when they pull out the guilt bomb, like, we're a team, wah, 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 you could say the famous word, no. But most of you, let's face it, you won't, because you want a couple more cracks at that pink pocket and you'll do anything for it. Because let's face it, you get that pink pocket and she reaches around into your back pocket. And you'll notice once you pay off all of that debt, she's going to start looking back and forth for that next big wallet to move on to. And what I mean by that is she monkey branches, jumps directly onto this next guy's lap, and takes a few to the face, back, thighs, and runs down her leg. Even after she has left and you're divorced and you think it is long over, it could still go down. You really can't change your social security number, and trying to get a new one is like trying to wake up Jesus Christ. Even when it's well over and she's had her domino effect of pump and dumps and become a cougar, the first fucking bit of financial aid, she's gonna slam that fucking straw right back in your shoulder blades. Because she still knows you, she knows your information, and she'll open as many lines of credit as she needs, and chances are she won't get prosecuted for it either.
You are a ray of sunshine on a cloudy day.
True story. I used to be a mortgage guy. I did VA loans for veterans on half the United States for almost 10 years. I had a guy, divorced 12 years, couldn't get a house because of child support. He made his last child support payment, decided to buy a house. I pulled his credit, and he had a $138,000 line of credit at Home Depot because his ex-wife was flipping houses on his dime. And that's just one example. Frankly, I have many more, but I'm going to give you another one. Ex-wife opens up an assload of credit lines in her ex-husband's name, takes out the cash, gambles it away, and he's on the hook for it. Now, if that was a dude doing that shit to another dude that he didn't know, FBI, the police would come, there'd be court, charges, prison possibly, and restitution. But since it's your ex-wife, you know, she's going to get a pass, and no one's going to get cuffed and stuffed, and you're probably going to have to pay for it all and file bankruptcy. Where?
You can't be serious.
Now, don't get me wrong. I feel bad for you, gentlemen. But hey, there's always 3 fingers pointing back, and you picked the crazy bitch. What can I say? She might have done that to that guy, but she won't do it to me, because she loves me and I'm special. It's like walking into the scene of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre with your junk hanging out, just walking in all casual like, hey, nice chainsaw. Hey, your face is leather. Next time, gentlemen, you run into one of these ladies, these crazy bitches, and they ask you for money, give them your card. Ho-ho! The grand scheme of it falls to simply this. It's just money. And at the end of the day, you'll make more money. But you can't rewrite somebody's DNA, and you know where this is going. And what do you get when you add monetary troubles to soul-crushing pain? Paternity fraud. This is going on across the entire Western world. And in Britain, we have a little tiny spark of hope. A woman is finally going to prison for paternity fraud. But sadly, that has happened all the way across the Atlantic, and it probably will never happen here. Because the system, as it stands now, rewards these women for this fucked up behavior, and there's too much money in it. And as long as there's money to be made, we all know corruption, injustice out the window. Take a look at all of these examples, and you will rarely find one woman going to jail for this bullshit. And what happens when you give somebody all the power and none of the responsibility? That's right, it's called tyranny. Feminism says we live in a patriarchy. Give me a goddamn break. In fact, I'm gonna watch me some Space Ghost. If we really lived in a patriarchy, men would not constantly be under the boot heel of it. But when we did live in an actual patriarchy, women, they were safe at home, and men went off to die in war and whatever. So exactly, at what point were you oppressed? Just a question.
I made it up. What? I made it up.
You go ahead. Take your time. I'm not really expecting a real answer anyway. And if that answer includes mansplaining or pink tax, piss up a rope. Then go ahead and take that rope, tie it to my motorcycle, and drag it around the block. Clever segue. Now we're moving on to the intentional destruction of your property or things of great value to you. Now don't get me wrong. There are occasions where it is extreme, and I understand. Friend of mine, married for a long time, dragged race bikes, wrecked it one day, walked away with a punctured lung and a broken leg, and a coma for 3 days, but came away fine. He was a lucky motherfucker. 10 feet, one way or another, he'd be dead. In fact, if he went to the left instead of the right, he would have been cut in half. Yeah, on that side, there was a guardrail, so go ahead and ask me how fast he was going. 160 miles an hour.
Holy shit.
Cut in half. Did he learn from that mistake? Hell no, we're dudes. He was working on that bike to race it again.
I said I was wrong. I didn't say I changed. I haven't.
So you could say he was actually repairing his original death trap, which is a whole other level of classic mistakes men make. But he comes home from work and his old lady is going to town with a sledgehammer on that bike in the garage. Now, was he pissed off when he called me? Yes, he was. But I understand, and I was technically on her side.
I can't believe you authorized this.
Really? Sounds exactly like something I do.
This woman, in my opinion, was one of those rare unicorns because they got married when they were like 20 and she was with him for 2 wars, a couple of devastating injuries, and stuck with him. She was in it to win it. By the time this accident happened, they were both in their late 30s and they had 2 children. She told me, on her side of the story,
I was with him for 2 fucking wars. He almost died. He was serving his country. I understand that. But this is flatbush stupid.
and I had no choice but to agree with her because on that day, he won the lotto and he didn't get killed, and he got his wake-up call.
Why else would you risk your life doing something so stupid?
Well, you know, I've had a lot of setbacks lately.
So, they call me over there. I come over with a 6-pack of beer. He's all spun up in the garage. We have a couple beers, and I let him vent, and we come down, and I said, dude, I showed him the video, and I told him he almost died. I said, look, fix that motorcycle, sell it, and buy a hot rod. Because that way, you wreck that thing, you got a goddamn crash cage around you. Motorcycles, they don't have that. They only have splat. Yeah, on that point, we're on beer number 3, and he's like, okay. So guess what? He sold her on the car idea, and they're living happily ever after, winning.
Is almost dying any excuse for not being fun?
Now, ladies, do not consider that a general victory, because that is a rare, rare case. Because usually, you catch a lady wrecking your shit, your house, or taking a golf club to your car, it's purely out of spite.
I didn't realize it was possible for a woman to be unusually irritable.
I got another true story for you, and this time you're not walking away smelling like roses. Dude gets divorced. Magically, he gets the Hail Mary, gets to keep the house. And what does she do? She wrecks it. I mean, we're talking poured the cement in the toilets, tore down the drywall, ripped out the wiring, fucked up the pipes. He was stuck holding the bag for the whole thing. He lost his ass, and not a damn thing happened to her. What were we saying before about tyranny and actual, real oppression? But long before this even took place, and we've all probably had it, that argument about having a gun in the house. You don't feel safe with a gun in the house? Well, what are you going to do when somebody comes with a gun into the house to rob and kill you? Go ahead and think about that. Just saying. But hey, guns, pictures, houses, they're just fucking things. And to pay for those things, you need a job. And if she gets mad enough, she will take that too. And today, all it takes is an accusation.
This is bullshit.
And this goes way beyond anger. This goes to the point of rage and hatred where it becomes self-destructive and they cut their own throat in the process. Because let's face it, if he's going to pay your child support and your alimony and you take away his job, who's going to pay it? Or maybe that's the end game, to send you to prison and cut away your support structure. Let's be honest, if she is this vindictive, she's been trying to cut them away for years. We've talked about this several times in the past, links below in the description. Because these women, they want to isolate you from your friends and family, all of your support structure, so they can assume complete control over you. And when you finally call them out on it, all of the bullshit that they destroyed, they're going to come back with, it was for your own good. Nice justification.
It's better this way, because your brother, I didn't like him, your mother didn't like me, they always looked at me strange, they always talked behind my back, wah, 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 wah. You didn't need that sports car anyway. You were spending too much time and money on it. We need that money to focus on our family.
Shut the fuck up!
I hear these things. I read these emails. I see so much of it. All I hear is me, wah, 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 wah. Ladies, I have to ask you, why? Why on God's green earth do you act this way? I know, you're gonna say, not all women are like that. Yeah, understood. Move along. Just because not all of you do it does not change the fact that most of you do this at some point or another. Even if it's not to this extreme, you still do it, just a little bit, go ahead and admit it. And usually these women came from a broken home, raised by a single mother who preached to them their entire life how much they deserve and how much they should get and how much they're entitled to. Instead of the healthy way of, hey, you want that shit over there? Work for it and earn it.
Is your mommy a big fat idiot?
You want that 6'2" guy with the blonde hair, blue eyes with a 6-figure income? You better be worth the investment. But usually you're not, because now we're down to that one super reason. Narcissism. That mental orgasm that these women get from ramming their hand up someone's ass and turning them into a sock puppet will trump a physical orgasm all day long. You could be the best bang that they ever got for their buck, but if they don't have a choke collar on you, it doesn't mean shit. Usually this kind of behavior is intentional, is completely malicious and evil in nature. But some of the time, a little bit of the time, it could be unintentional or unacknowledged frustration. And these typically are the passive-aggressive bitches that we all know and love. But no matter how you spin it, this all boils down into 3 main tiers of motivation behind this shit. It starts off with frustration, and that usually manifests with denial and blaming. And it is simple as this. Honey, what's wrong? Nothing. There you go. Because we all know what nothing means, and it means something, and she wants you to be a mind reader and figure it the fuck out. And if you don't figure it out, that's when she starts to blame you. And this is Feminism 101. Blame everyone for everything, admit nothing, deny everything, and always have a counter accusation. Really can't imagine why you're single, bummer.
I'm guessing she's... what's the medical term? Upset.
So let's say you didn't really listen to the frustration and you didn't pay attention to the little hissy fits, and it moves on to anger. And that always starts out with sarcasm. I'm no stranger to that. Little comments, little jabs. They attack your manhood. They blame you, usually in front of friends and family. Then it moves on to guilt and shame, which, by the way, is the meat and potatoes of female argument tactics. And by default, my hate mail. Scream 5. Ha ha ha. And you want to know why I don't take you bitches seriously or take you to dinner? Just saying.
Do I seem happy to you?
Never.
Did that make you angry? Huh? And we move along to tier number 3, which is hate. Once you get to hate, it is already over. All they really want to do is ram that last stake right through your heart and then rip it out through your asshole so they can leave. And this is accomplished in one of 2 ways. The first one is good old-fashioned backstabbing. Oh, goody. Women do this stuff all the time, and that's why they have frenemies.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were having a state the obvious contest.
Oh, the last one. And there's a lot of people out there that have this coming, and I call it revenge seeking. This is self-explanatory. Do I really have to go into it or tell you to dig 2 graves? You have a side piece, and your wife finds out about it, and she bangs your buddy? Hey, 1, I don't care, and 2, you kind of had it coming. Now, ladies, I'm not giving you a free pass on this, because if you had any respect for your man, you wouldn't even go down this road at all. Because, by and large, and I'm going to call a spade here, men don't do this. Let me rephrase. Men, they don't do this at all, period. Men do this. By that, I mean the bitch brains, manginas, and soy boys. You got too much estrogen in your system, your nuts have long since been filled with vaginal quim, and you have a small brain in your skull.
Pop, don't let it go. X gon' give it to you. He gon' give it to you. X gon' give it to you.
In fact, that testiculus redonculitis that you have going on down there smells like pussy. But hey, I really don't know if I can blame you for that, because you were taught and raised by women. They alienated you from your father and cut him completely out of the picture, crippled you mentally and socially for life, and raised you to be bipolar, bagistic manginas just like them.
It's proof that Jesus died in vain and legally changed his middle name to fucking...
And then they're shocked and appalled when women, which are just like them, don't want to date their sons. And when they do, they cheat on them anyway, divorce them, and the whole thing repeats. Why do you think 20% of the dudes are getting 80% of the sex out there? That's why. And that's why there's not enough good men out there. Fuck you, already made that episode. Now listen, ladies, there are good men out there, but you're not gonna find them when you keep pulling this bullshit. I'm a betting man. And I bet you, if you're 35 and single, he's already showed up and you kicked him to the curb, or you pulled this bullshit and drove him off and it's your fault. Is that mean? Is it mean?
Yes.
It's the truth. But the truth, that's why you come here, and that's why you give me your money. Check out my links below, Patreon and PayPal. Because if you do, I'll finish up this bottle of Jim Beam apple, and I'll pick up some Jack apple, and I love that. It's my favorite. Another favorite, subscribers. Hit the button and bell so you're notified when we make new videos. Because if you don't, you'll come home from work and find me smashing up your motorcycle. But hey, it's for your own good. Screen 5! That's a good one. I'm here to pick a fight.
Where did that even come from? It was like all of a sudden one day you just came back one day and you're like, let's pick a fight!
I did it at work.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was talking to somebody that used two dudes were fucking having an argument. I'm like, all right, what's going on here? Oh, somebody's here to pick a fight. Goody. Let's go. And they're like, let me go. Take all your weapons out. Take your shirts off. Let's do this. This is old school.
Do it!
And once it became real that I was going to stop it, they're like,